I actually almost forgot for real this time. Oh, that was a really nice one too.
Nice.
Welcome,
Welcome.
welcome
Welcome.
to the Unhinged BookCast, a podcast hosted by Jess and LJ, who love all things fantasy books. I'm LJ.
And I'm Jess, and we're happy to have you back again.
Whether we're deep diving into thoughts and theories or just riding the vibes, we love discussing our current reads with each other and with all of you.
Tonight we are discussing Book 6 in the Blood and Ash series by Jennifer Armentrout, The Primal of Blood and Bone, chapters 14 through 31. Please note that we have not finished this book yet, so we would appreciate no spoilers in the comments.
But we have read the prequel series, the Flesh and Fire series, so there definitely will be spoilers for that one. Speaking of which, you can now discuss with us spoiler free, chapter by chapter, in our club on the Fable app.
Also, please do all the things liking, following, and subscribing on all of our platforms.
These are romantic fantasy books that are intended for adults. We will be talking about war, gore, and no pants dances.
So, this is your content warning. Our discussions are not suitable for little listening ears. We hope you are all reading along with us, and we can't wait to hear your thoughts and theories as well.
Well, here we go.
Yeah, here we go.
I have a feeling this is going to be a short one, but we'll see. We'll see. I don't know. Maybe we can still have a wild debate. We'll find out.
Yeah, there we go.
Chapter 14. All I had was that Poppy is now in Mount Lotho
Yeah.
and she's speaking with Victor.
hmm
And then some other dude comes in.
hmm
Oh, Lyran. Sure. Lyran.
Sure. Lyrian.
Lyran. I don't know, whatever. Um, Basically tell her that Castile is a threat and he would burn through all the realms to get to her,
Yeah,
which makes sense.
it does. I had a couple extra thoughts on this one, but
Yeah,
yeah,
you
she's
go for it.
basically like in Mount Lotho. First, she's talking with Victor. She says something to Victor about how Tawny told her that he's a Victor,
Mhm.
quote, like Leopold was. And then when she says that about Leo, it says, quote, his jaw tightened and something crossed his features, but I couldn't be
Mhm.
sure what. And so I was like, I think you're completely right that Leo was actually Iris.
Yeah, I highlighted that quote and I was like, I'm just gonna let her find it herself. I
Yeah.
think he's curious.
Yeah, I think you're right. I was like 99% on board with that last episode, but I'm 100% on board with it now.
Yeah.
Um, and then Holland is a fate, which we knew that because Holland ends up being there too. Holland's a fate, but he's
Yeah.
also an ancient. Not all of the fates are ancients, but some of them are.
But
Holland
most
is
of them
one
are,
of
it
them.
sounds like, yeah.
Most of them are, yeah. But not all of them. Like Victor is not an ancient.
Yeah. But he's considered a fate and a victor. I don't
Right. They're all basically they're like those words I was kept going back and forth. The fate, the array, the victors, they're all synonymous, but some of them are not all of them. Does that make sense? Like some of the ancients are not fates or victors. Some of the victors are not ancients or fates. But they're like all the same sort of
I don't
thing.
know. I kind of just keep thinking about them as like angels and they're all up in like this like
Yeah,
castle in
that
heaven, but you can't
works.
talk to the big guy, right? And so you have to talk to these idiots that are just trying to keep everybody from
Right?
burning the world down. Like that's
Right?
I don't know. Like that's what this was like making me think of. Not necessarily like Bruce Almighty where they're meeting in like an
Oh my
old
gosh.
warehouse, but that's
Yeah.
the conversation I was having
Yeah.
in my
Yeah.
head.
One way or another. They're all sort of like connected but not connected. I don't know. But anyways, like you said, then there's like this Fate slash ancient who this guy was one of the ancients or is one of the ancients
Yeah,
named
he is
Lyrian.
one of the
He
ancients.
is,
The
yeah.
10
So
original.
right. His name's Lyrian. He literally pops into the room. Then he says that Poppy's powers are in essence are bound where she's at. Like they're all collectively using their will to bind her powers so she can't use her ether while she's there. But it takes like all of them, seen and
Hmm.
unseen, to do that. Which made me think like, I don't know. I'm gonna put it on paper right now. I think we have a secondary or possibly just like bigger bad guy now. It
Like
makes
the
me think of
airy.
yeah. I mean, yeah,
Yeah.
Colas is a bad guy, yeah, obviously. But the Aerie are like they kind of act like they're threatened by her, and then later in the chapter we find out that they're for sure, I don't know if they're threatened by Castile, but they definitely don't like Castile. But I don't like the
Hmm.
way that they act. Because even Poppy makes a point about like Um, I think this actually might be the next chapter about their like form of balance.
Yeah, I think I agree with you, but at the same time, I don't want to because I'm pissed off that we're learning so many more new things and it's just like we're
Mm-hmm.
not getting conclusions.
Oh my gosh,
So
I
I
know.
agree with you, but I don't want
Oh,
to.
I know. I know.
So then let's move on to chapter
Mm-hmm.
15, where yeah, so we're still kind of like talking with these dudes. Lyran,
Lyrian. I'm gonna say Lyrian.
Lorium. I don't know. Lorraine. Okay. So he was one of the first 10 ancients to dream.
Mm-hmm.
And then we have this other dude come in, and his
Yeah.
name is Thorn, and he's tall, tan, and handsome. Okay. I've got a quote. I don't know who all this is from, but so Holland's the one that says this. He says, "We all stand here today because we ensured we could no longer suffer the same fate as our brethren." My brows lifted. I'm hoping you will explain that further. All of us released embers of our essences to become what we are today, what others know as the Ere. Lyrian tilted his chin back. You can look at our eyes to see that they do not carry the gold of life, nor the crimson in shadows of death. Our purpose is to ensure the balance and that those who went to ground never wake up, but they had. So this is kind of like saying what they did. So they like basically took their essence out or whatever so that they wouldn't be a ancient anymore or
Yeah.
I
Well,
don't
they like
know.
they have their powers. They have powers, but like even Lyrian, even the ones that are awake, they gave up the life embers and the death embers in an attempt to keep with the balance.
Yeah.
Um,
And I think that's what she's gonna have to do. Does that
yeah,
make sense?
probably. Yeah.
So
No, it
I
does.
think she's technically like gonna be an ancient or is a new ancient or still Shakira is an ancient and that's the
No, I
soul of
think that
Fire.
that was debunked in this book or in this chapter chunk. We'll get
I
there.
don't know. We'll get there.
We'll
I'm so
get
fucking. Where's my Shakira? We need to talk to Shakira, okay? She's obviously got things she wants to do, okay? But anyway, and then all I had at the end was like that Cass and Kieran and her are Dominion or whatever.
So the Dominion are, from the book, quote, a class of primordial beings with no anchors, not even the essence of the realms. Poppy asks then, so basically no other true primals are fully ascended? And they say that there is only one other like them, and he is not Dominion. He's complicated. But when they say that, Thorn like chuckles and kind of acts like they're talking about him, and they kind of act like they're talking about him in that part of the book. And I was like, is it him?
Or is it Kieran?
No, because they're talking about Kieran. They're talking about Kieran Castile and Poppy, how they're Dominion, and they're explaining what the Dominion are. And then they're
Oh,
like, there's one other because they're not bound to a court. Which all of this would be even more frustrating and confusing again if we had not read Flesh and Fire. But it makes sense because they all had their court and they pulled power
oh
from it.
yeah.
They had their own power, but they also pulled power from being part of a court. Um, yeah, so basically they're fully ascended but have no ties, no anchors.
No ties. So whatever they do doesn't happen in the mortal world or whatever.
Right. It doesn't affect the
It
mortal
doesn't affect the
world,
mortal world.
and it's also not going to affect Elysium just because they have no ties. They can basically do whatever they want.
Yeah.
And then I had one other little thing, or two other little things. So the ancients can destroy a realm with one hand and create a new one with the other. And then they tell her that Poppy that she is also capable of that, and the Aerie no longer are.
Right.
And then the dragons apparently were the ones that had the ability to feel emotion. So that's like kind of how emotion got introduced into the world. Came from
I
the
almost
dragons.
wondered if like dragons were the ancients, but I don't know. We seen the
Yeah,
one with the feathery wings, and that didn't make any damn sense. So
no, I don't think that the dragons are the ancients. I think they were just there because they talk about how the dragons were already here on this world and everything before the
before the
ancients fell
ancients,
from the
yeah,
sky as stars. And the dragons were the ones that had the ability to feel emotion. So then when Ethos created the first Draken, that's what like released the ability to feel into
yeah,
the mortals. I just didn't elaborate more than that because I read that like three times because it didn't make quite sense to me. But that's it for that chapter.
So, chapter 16, we're still having this conversation with Poppy and these three dudes. And then Holland says, "There are rules, Poppy. In time, you will understand." She says, "Fuck the rules." And then Thorne says, "Have I mentioned that I really like her?" That's all I have for that part.
Yeah.
Basically, I feel like it was just all another pissing match, and they just can't tell her that Poppy is Shakira.
Yeah.
But I don't know why nobody can tell Poppy that she's Shakira, and she has to just figure it out herself, and it kind of pissed me off.
It's obnoxious. Okay. Yeah, so I had a thought, just a personal thought that, like I
Mhm.
said, kind of think that the real big bad here is going to be the ancients slash fates slash Aerie because they're all the
Yeah.
same, but they're all different. I don't know what the fuck's going on. But um Poppy makes a lot of good points to Lyrian about how their version of quote unquote balance is kind of BS. Like
Mhm.
they are like, I don't know. She's like, how is anything that Colas has done or is currently doing truly keeping the balance? Like he's
Right.
a messed up
Like Cole's is
dude.
fucking everything up.
He's yeah, he truly is. And they're just like, I don't know. How it is. It's how things are, kind of thing.
We can't tell
Um,
you.
and then they also seem really cagey. They don't want to tell her much about the ancients in the ground. Where it's like it's almost like they know that if she gets to them, she could change some things for the better almost, or like defeat them. I don't
Yeah.
know. Them keeping her essence down, like them all working together to keep her from having her powers. And then the things that they said about the ancients, the way they're so cagey about some of this stuff, I don't trust them at all.
I don't either. I think, yeah. Unfortunately, like I said, I think there is a new one. Not necessarily a new big bad, but the big bad
Yeah,
is this, the ancients, the balance, all this shit. And I'm like, okay, why are we now adding this?
I know.
We've been leading all up to let's defeat Colas, and he's still just doing little magic tricks at this
Oh my
point.
gosh, I know. But to piggyback off of what I was just saying, also, so in this chapter, Holland tells Poppy, quote, life always prevails, but you, only you can liberate Bone and Ash, only you can liberate death. Which also makes me wonder, like, is that part of her essence more important? Like, we know she needs to get rid of Colas, but why does she need to liberate death? Is that like death with a capital D? Or is that like she needs to go kill all the ancients? Is he trying to give her like a cryptic little hint about how to handle things? Because he does like to walk a fine line. They've always said
Right.
that. I don't
I
know.
don't know. I don't know. But I just don't
Well,
like that. I feel like we are changing up the ending of the story. Does that make sense?
I feel like, yeah, I feel like it's almost like everything that we've read up to this point. What was the point? If
What was the point?
we're just gonna do a
Change
whole
it.
different story here. I don't know, it's really frustrating
And
me.
it really feels like a whole different story.
Mm-hmm.
But we can keep going if you're
Yeah, we
ready.
can move on.
Okay, so chapter 17. This is my favorite friend, Aiden. I like this dude. He's one of the characters keeping me going in this book.
Yeah.
He's just being really cryptic about the heartmate situation and like the union of all of three of them or
Yeah.
whatever. But he's all doing it while just sitting there and just finishing off Poppy's dinner and just like
Mm-hmm.
eating all of it.
Yeah, he's like, got any more food?
Got any more food? I'm starving. I'm parched,
Mm-hmm.
man. Um, and then eventually Poppy comes back, and I mean we talk a little bit, but then they just do the twisted tango, and I'm like, really?
Pretty much.
Um, and
Yep.
then
I think
yeah,
the
and
only
then
other thing I had for this chapter was Aiden did confirm in talking with them that Atlantia is what was once known as the Boneland.
the
Just
Bonelands,
because
yeah,
you were the one who called that a while ago, and so I just want to throw that in there that you were right.
yeah, I forgot about that,
But that
but
was the only interesting thing about this chapter.
and then I don't even remember why, but like at some point. Poppy, I think this is like she's just kind of remembering something, but she's like death and destruction, bone and ash.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, I feel like it's like she's like starting to remember things, but like she never remembered things before. But she kind of did.
Yeah.
And she was like, "Oh, Castile looks like he was a god and he looks familiar to me," and all that thing. Like that was stuff from like book 1 and 2.
Right.
But other than that, there was nothing else that like she just remembered other than stuff about Castile.
Mm-hmm.
Chapter 18. Uh they're just talking about like the joining and Kieran and stuff. And my thought was like, where the fuck is Kieran? Like I'm starting to get concerned. And then he
Mm-hmm.
walks in and I go, oh, there he is. Good. That is literally my note.
Yeah. Basically, because it goes back and forth between like Castiel's point of view and then Poppy's point of view. And so Castiel, there's nothing new. Poppy's point of view, finally, like you said, she gets to see Kieran. Finally. Um, and she can like instantly tell that something is up between Kieran and Castiel and that they're both hiding it from her.
Oh my God,
And
yes.
this was pissing me off.
Oh, it was so bad. And
It
then just
started
like,
here and it just got worse and worse.
and then just Castile, like I'm so done with his point of views. It's not even funny. It's like
Yeah.
he's either like pissed off at everybody, trying to bite people's hands off, or like shaking her hand or something, or he's so fucking bricked up that like he can't move without doing something.
Yeah. I
I'm
don't
over
know.
it.
I'm so
It's
over him too.
obnoxious.
It is obnoxious. And if he continues to wink at her, I'm gonna lose my freaking mind.
He's gonna be over there just having like a stroke. That wasn't funny, but it was funny. I shouldn't have said that. I don't really care.
I usually think that that's cute. Like, my husband does that to me. My sons even do that to me. Like, I think it's cute.
Hey,
But
Toots.
good grief. Every 10 seconds, he's like winking at her, winked at her. And I'm like, oh my God. Keep both
Or
your
the
eyes
urge
open.
to just like bend her over and flip her skirt up. Like, come on now.
Yeah. It's
I don't want to
driving
be
me
in the mind of
crazy.
a dude anymore, let alone this one. Like, this one's bad.
Yeah.
Okay. So, chapter 19. Ates must have given over like his
Oh, like his court.
yeah, his court to Theon, knowing that he was gonna go to sleep for a long time.
I think that's what the
And
plan was at the end of our last Flesh and Fire book.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And somebody's starting to figure this out. I think this is in Poppy's point of view still. And then I was like, okay, Seti is Ate's horse, isn't he? I know it because I've said something before about this.
Yeah.
And then she has this feeling that makes her uneasy about the plan, but she agrees anyway. Like she has these feelings that keep making her uneasy and stuff like that, but she's like
Mm-hmm.
agreeing to do these things anyway. And then I'm like, Jesus,
Which is
follow your
annoying because that's
gut.
not her
Yeah.
personality. The rest of the book, or the rest
Yep.
of the series.
Yeah, exactly. Like they have totally different characters and
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah. My only note for this one was boring chapter, military strategy stuff, and more debriefing. End
the
of
amount
story.
of debriefing, my dude. Oh
Oh
my
my
God.
gosh. I'm
If
over
we have to listen to the same story over and over
it.
again, I'm
I
like,
know.
shit. Got the point, bitch was possessed. Let's move
And
on.
these freaking chapters are so long, but it's
Long
the same thing over and
over
over
and
again, and
over
it's
and
driving me
over again.
crazy.
Me too. So chapter 20, um, and I'll let you go off, but all
Okay,
I had
so
was
yeah,
Castile summons ravens when he's pissed off.
right. Yeah. Yeah. Basically they're in the middle of their little debrief. Again, I mean it just rolls right in to this chapter. They're debriefing. They talk about how they're going to have to end all of the Ascended, and Poppy agrees that that's the only way that they're going to be able to continue moving on with their plan. And I guess before the Ravens come, Castile mentions that Poppy probably wants to see Tawny, and when he mentions her name, her stomach does like a like it jig drops. And then she has this
Yeah.
feeling of icy dread, but she can't put her finger on why she's feeling that way because Tawny's like her best friend.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then they start talking about Colas again, and she's telling or Castile how Colas's plan is basically to become what she is. And in order to do that, he's got to drain her of all, like, he's got to take the essence from her by draining her of her blood. And when she says that, Castile goes into psycho, overprotective, primal freakout mode and accidentally calls a horde of black ravens into the chamber. But he doesn't
Mm-hmm.
even notice.
Mm-hmm.
And then Reaver comes to the door and tells her that he needs her help waking up Jadis.
Like, thank God. Like,
Jeez.
uh,
Yeah, I know. I know.
but like, okay, and they keep talking about how they think that's Cole's plan is to drain her of her
Hmm.
essences and stuff. But all I can think about is like, okay, Colas just wants Satoria.
Yeah,
I don't think he wants all this shit. I think he wants Satoria.
I think ultimately he wants Satoria. I think he's also power hungry though.
Well, yeah, he's pissed off the rest of the world about it, but
Right. But no, I think you're right. I think his main drive is Satoria.
yeah. But what do I know?
Yeah.
Everything keeps changing, and I'm about to not have any thoughts and theories anymore because apparently I'm on a different planet. But
Yeah.
when the Kraken showed up, dude, I was like, okay, all right, we've gone overboard. Got it.
We're in New York City. Now
We're
there's a
in New York
Kraken. I
City.
mean,
Now there's
like, who the
crack.
hell
There's
knows what's
fucking
going on?
zombies going on. I don't know what the hell. Okay, let's get on to the bacon
All
chapter.
right.
Okay, so chapter 21. So they go to go get Jadis, and she sees all these statues, right? And they're
Hmm.
like this glittery, almost see-through, not limestone, but something like that, right?
Yeah.
And she makes a note of it, and like how the only time she's ever seen this stone before or whatever was like a mother holding a baby in the Capitol, maybe somewhere in the Capitol. But she's remember in the garden, I think, um, is where she'd seen a statue
Oh,
like this before,
right.
and it's a mother holding a baby.
Yep.
And then she wants to touch him. She just wants to touch him. And I'm like, okay, let's let her touch him because she's probably gonna bring something back to life,
Yeah, maybe we can get a little action going here.
right? And then he won't let her touch him. And then so they go find Jadis, and she's not looking so hot, and they take the chains off of her,
Hmm.
and they can't get her to wake up. Oh, before this, I'm so sorry. That was a really sad part. But before this, they're talking about how all the people have been like leaving her gifts in front of the palace or whatever.
Yeah.
And I guess somebody left an actual pig for her. And I said, please tell me there is going to be a pet named Bacon. And I can't wait. It better happen because at this point, that's what I'm living for. Okay.
Now I want bacon.
I hate bacon.
What?
Me and Serafina
Leslie.
don't do bacon because of pregnancy. Forget that.
Oh.
Right? I told you like two or three episodes ago, and she was
Uh-huh. That's
nauseous from
true.
bacon.
I forgot about that. You're right.
Yeah, forget that. Okay. But I want a pig named Bacon to be a pet that follows us around. I need her to be like, hold on, we have to get Bacon. And then like Kieran and Castile are like, Jesus. And like somebody has to go back and go get Bacon. And you just see Delano
Yes.
coming back in his woven form, like holding a pig.
That would make the book so much better.
That would.
It really would.
It really would. So chapter 22, all I said was the fucking boy drama.
Emoji, emoji,
Puke,
emoji, emoji.
puke,
Yeah.
eye roll, eye roll. I can't, man. I cannot. Okay, let's move on to chapter 23.
Okay.
So all I had really was that um they're talking about whatever this is, like the Vela or something like that.
Hmm.
And Kieran is telling her that the Raven in his like with the woven or whatever, the ravens represent an omen of death and destruction.
Yeah.
Um, and basically that the Vela is basically an extension of a primal's will.
Hmm.
And my only thought is I still think it's like the mist or a craven for Colas because he is death. And that's what makes
Right.
sense for that's how the craven are made is from him in
Yeah,
theory
it
because it's
does.
from death.
It does make sense. Hmm.
So
My note was more chitty chatty about stuff, like lots of just talking. I feel like we could have condensed the first 10 chapters that we read into just like talking.
mhm.
Um, and more of Castile being a horny, attitudey, puberty-stricken teenager with anger issues. I am so freaking over him right now.
I'm so done.
Um, one thing about this chapter is that like they're talking about everything. They're talking about Colas and his Vela, like you were talking about. And Poppy's sitting next to Castile on the couch and she kind of feels him like grab her arm. Okay. not
Yeah.
abnormal or whatever. And she just looks down at his hand and she notices that it's like covered in her blood. Like it looks like shadowy and smoky and it's covered in her blood. And then she like looks away. And honestly, that's like how this chapter ends. And then it rolls
Yeah.
straight into chapter 24 is how it just starts with this. So I'm going to move
And
forward
I
into
don't
24 if
remember
you're okay
that.
with
So
that.
it's like
Okay.
that's just what happens.
Yeah. That's it. That's how this chapter ends, how 23 ends. Like they're talking, she's sitting next to Castile. She feels his hand on her arm. She looks down. It's like the shadowy, smoky hand, and it has her blood on it. And then she looks back up, and then it moves into 24, and then literally, so moving into 24, she
Yeah.
clears her eyes, looks back down at the hand, and realizes it's just Castile's hand. There's nothing weird out going on there. Um, but
Weird. I must have but that was probably one of the chapters I fell asleep
you're
and I
falling
read
asleep
like
on.
4 different times.
Understandably, because the majority of the chapter was a bunch of talking that I felt was very unnecessary. And then there was like that quick
Yeah.
little detail in the end there. Because, like, when she wakes up after the dream, okay, so there's the dream, and she thinks that it was Castile that was like touching her before she
Right. So
woke
this
up
is
and
back in
all this
23.
stuff. Right. Okay, so the dream. And then she keeps feeling this feeling of like that somebody is watching her. And then
Right.
in this chapter, then she sees this hand on her. And it's like every time Colas gets brought up, this kind of stuff starts happening. And so my thought was like, is
But it's like also
Colas.
at the same time, Castile's the one that like is getting all angry and stuff.
I know. And he's the one who has the embers of death in her. So my question was, is it Colas? Or is it somehow Castile? Or is Colas able to manipulate Castile somehow because of the
That's what I
essence of death in
wondered.
him? Or does it have nothing to do with Castile and Colas is just trying to scare her? Or does it have nothing to do with either of them and she's just imagining things? I don't freaking know.
I don't
But
know, but I'm getting more and more pissed off because we're not doing anything. Like
I
nothing
know.
happening.
I know. But then this chapter 24 ends with Emil coming in saying that Nail has news and that there's been another like really bad incident, worse than the incident before with the Dead Ascended. That's how
But
that one ends. So
before
I don't know
we
if you had a
hold on,
different note
before we
there.
move, I do.
Yep.
So Delano comes in because he wants to come in, right?
Right, right. And he hasn't seen her
He
since she's woken up.
right.
Hmm.
But he is very wary of Castile. Mind you, he's walked past Emil, he's
Yeah,
walked past
yeah.
Kieran,
Hmm.
and he's okay with her, but he is not okay with Castile being there. So I
Nope.
think Castile's possessed, and I'm gonna say that's stupid, but I think that's what's going on. I think
I
Castile's
go back
possessed
and
and
forth.
doesn't
I've been
know.
going back and forth on if he's possessed or if he's just
Like that's what makes
an
sense though,
asshole.
because like just like with the touching and
Right.
the feelies and the way he's just a fucking horn dog and bricked up all the
He's
time
driving me nuts. Yeah. Yeah.
and just like okay, so and he's just like trying to like not necessarily cage her, but like he's talking about how like he doesn't want any like Tawny calls him out later about how like are you gonna let anybody else see her or anything like that? Are you gonna
Mm-hmm.
keep her locked up in the room or something? And it's
Mm-hmm.
very Colas like, you know what I mean?
It is. No,
For
I
what he did
totally get
with
what you're saying because I'm on the
Serafina.
same page here.
And so I think he's maybe, yeah, compelling Castile or whatever, and Castile doesn't know it. And she keeps saying about how his eyes flicked over and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And she's like, but it's just the death essence inside of him. Is it Colas inside of him and he doesn't know it?
Or is the essence of death inside of him like corrupting him in a way?
Yeah, that could be too. I don't know,
I
but
don't
I'm over
know.
it.
Me too.
I just want some answers and to keep moving because we are at
I know.
60%.
Gosh, I know.
And we just have more questions than anything being answered.
Yeah.
We don't have a thesis statement
No,
like
we have nothing. We have no real direction. It's just like, oh, let's throw this detail in there and that detail and new conflict
and let's
here.
just go over everything 800
But then we're
times.
just gonna sit here and debrief. And another chapter of debrief. And another one.
Yep.
Uh-huh.
Yep. Okay. Chapter 25. Seti is Ate's bloodsteed. So
Yes.
that's all I have. And then more dead bodies. That's all I have.
Basically, I said that this is like the first cool thing about this chapter chunk. Literally, like it took all the way. It took 10 chapters, 6 chapters. Not six
Mhm.
chapters, 11 chapters to get to something interesting. But yeah,
Yeah.
Seti is a blood steed. He was not just named after Ates's blood steed. He is Ates's blood steed, which I thought was
Uh-huh.
so cool. And so when Castile was walking through Ilian's pasture the day that he found Seti, Seti appeared to him as a colt on purpose and followed
Yep.
him. So there
Yep.
was some sort of magic involved there. And then Poppy's like, oh yeah, how is it that he's never gotten hurt during a battle and when all the other horses are
Hmm.
falling and stuff like that? And she's always thought there was something more to this horse. So I've always loved him. So I thought that part was cool. And then they head out to see what Nail found. What's so disturbing? What's so bad?
Hmm.
And they see that there's two whole blocks where there are dead families in their homes, mortals.
Mortals.
And the creepy freaking thing about this is that they all have smiles on their faces and all of their injuries, mortal, fatal
Self-inflicted.
injuries, were self-inflicted.
Yeah.
With a smile on their face. And they're not like sharp knives. It's like brutal, dull, bad. Um, and she
So they're
realizes
thinking
like
it's like, yeah, go ahead.
no, you're good. She realizes that there's Colus's stenches everywhere, like that stale
Hmm.
lilac smell of death is everywhere. They can actually feel like the heaviness of his presence, just like on the whole block.
Hmm.
Um, and then she's like, they did not do this of their own volition. This was Colus. This
Yeah.
was Colus in them.
And
And
they
then
were
that's how
talking
that
about how it's
chapter
probably
ends.
compulsion or something like that.
Right, something right along those lines. Mm-hmm.
All I had for chapter 26 was one word, Craven. That's all I put. So,
Okay, so moving on from the families, they're just like sitting there talking over how Colas could have done it.
mhm.
And then they ask Poppy if she knows if he can use his Vela or whatever against the Atlanteans, and she checks her little fact checker in her brain that she has now, whatever that thing's called. Um, what is that thing
The
called?
I don't know. I like the fat
The fact
Jesus.
checker.
The fact. Why can I not fact checker? I like that. Okay, we're using
All
fact
right.
checker from
So
now
her
on.
fact checker. And so the answer is no, it cannot be used against Atlanteans. So Colas cannot impose his will against Atlanteans. However, he can for the Wolven.
Hmm.
Um, and he can also use it against the Revenants and the Ascended, but not Millie. And they put it straight into the book. Millie, he cannot do it against her because she is not fully a Revenant. She's
She
different.
is different.
And we keep going back and forth like, what is she? Is she a Revenant? Is she not? We still don't know what she is, but there's confirmation 100% she is not fully just a Rev. So we know that at least.
Yeah.
Um, so then Nail tells them to come back into the house, the original house. Like they looked at all the houses and all the families, but like the first house that they went into, and the bodies are twitching and they're changing color. They're turning gray. And Poppy knows through her foresight fact checker that they're not Craven
Right.
because she's like, they had not been fed upon and their blood had not been drained. There were no marks. There was tons of blood everywhere. So that didn't happen. And then the chapter ends with one of the little girls that was not alive anymore, her eyes snapping open after her lips turned black. Her lips turns black and then her eyes snap open. And chapter ends. And we go to 27.
And that's when I yelled zombies. I was just trying to make explanations at this point.
Craven! Zombies!
And then wait, no, they're girls.
That's what
And
my
all
phone kept
okay,
trying to turn it into
mine
was
too.
girls.
Okay, so hear this out. When I kept reading it, and I was like, "How would you say that out loud?" Because I was kind of thinking
Gruels.
about like tonight when gruels, and all I could think about was like, okay, so my one kid loves watching like the
Yeah,
Despicable
mine
Me
do
movies,
too.
and like when what's his
Oh
bucket
no.
Gru starts trying to say the girls, or like you girls,
Girls. Girls.
girls. and that's,
Girls.
and that's all I
Oh
hear
God.
is Gru saying girls or however he says it.
Oh, that's funny. I just think of like a bowl of mush. Gruels. Gruel. Yeah.
Girls.
Yeah.
But anyway, but those in the Lamea are real, and she knows that from her little fact checker, I guess.
Uh-huh. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that's all I got in a
I
battle
think
scene.
and a battle scene. Mm-hmm. I will say the battle scenes are still spectacular.
Yes, yes, I liked how they went to back to counting them and trying to get the higher number.
Yeah, that part was cute.
Yes, that was like old times.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so people are turning into gruels. Okay, so a gruel, it's like kind of like a mix between a craven and a germ. But where the germs are created to either fight, hunt, or serve, gruels are made by a god and are used in the abyss to feast on the flesh of those that go to the abyss.
Ew,
Creepy,
gross.
disgusting, gross. Um, so yeah, she fights off they're fighting off the gruels, and she notices the white light behind the eyes of, I think it was all of them had this white light behind them.
Mm-hmm.
But particularly this old lady that's just like gunning for her. She realizes that it's Colas. And then the chapter ends with the old lady Gruel saying, quote, Solus, I'll be seeing you soon. And that's how that chapter ends.
Well, this was like even before all that. She bites her. The old lady bites her, and then that's when
She
she
does.
runs away,
Right.
goes up on top of the roof,
Mhm.
and then starts screeching, and then they all come out of the woodworks going after him.
But then they don't go after her though. After she bites her, they no longer like actually are going to try and like hurt Pop, like they're trying to grab at her and stuff, but they're actually trying to like kill Castile. Like their focus is on Castile. And then the same thing happens again later with the Siren and the seahorses, which we'll get to in a minute.
Oh yeah.
But
Okay.
the same thing happens with them. They're not like gunning for her as much as they are like super gunning for Castiel.
I don't know, man. Chapter 28. All I had was mom and dad are fighting.
Okay, so yes, mom and dad are fighting. Let's elaborate on that a little bit. So Castiel's point of view. Um, Castiel wakes up to Poppy like sleepwalking. She's
Oh yeah,
butt ass
forgot about that
naked
part.
and she is staring out the window because they've got like this wall, like window wall in their new quarters. So she's staring out the window towards the cliffs of sorrow. And she says that she can almost still see herself there. Um, and then he gets her out of the trance. He like basically just like scoops her up and puts her back in bed. And then she wakes up halfway towards the bed and is like, "What's going on?" He's like, "You're sleepwalking." Puts her back to sleep. And that's basically all we have from his point of
Hmm.
view. So then we go into Poppy's point of view. It's the next day. She doesn't know what happened the night before.
Hmm.
Whatever. They have their meeting with the generals, and then some of the dissenters, some of the people that they know, support them. And I just put that there's a little spark between Kieran and Helenia, whatever her name is.
Sure.
She's also the dissenter who gave them info on the Ascended before. I don't know if you remember that. But she was the
I
one who was
don't,
like, make
but
sure you, yeah, she's like, make sure you check underneath the castles and stuff. They like to travel underground and
oh
whatnot.
yeah, okay.
And I remember saying, like, oh, they gave us a name. She's going to come
Probably
back
gonna
up
be
again.
important.
Yeah. And
Good call. Good call.
Karen's kind of got little sparkly eyes for her. And she's also apparently incredibly gorgeous.
I see. I think she's got sparkly eyes for him, and he's oblivious as fuck.
Oh, I know.
That's what
I
I
don't
how
think
I
so.
see
I
it.
think that he's not oblivious. I think he's got a little something going on for her, too.
Oh, see, I think it was like when he was like, "Why would you?" Because they're mind speaking, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, "Why would you leave me trapped here with Helena?" And then he says that part out loud, and she goes, "Yes," and he goes, "Oh shit, play it off."
Well, no, because because he was like, they were like, okay, okay, maybe you should share your plans. And then Poppy's like, yeah, Kieran, share the plans with Helenea. And he goes, Helenea? Like, I think that he's like a little kid when you're like, oh, you've got a crush on so and so, and they're like, no. That's how I'm
Okay,
seeing it.
I'm gonna put $5 on the table that he's the oblivious one.
I think they both have a thing for each other. Okay, we'll see
Okay,
who wins this
whatever.
bet.
Okay, we'll see. But knowing
Anyways,
we won't find out, and
no, we're
he's
not gonna
gonna
freaking find
go
out.
bang a tree. I don't know. Okay, so do you have anything else for this one? Because we're going off the
Honestly, I'll
rails.
be honest, I was dozing off when I read this chapter,
Okay,
and
cool.
some of it's foggy, but I'm pretty sure at some point Castile, Kieran, and Poppy, they order everyone out of the room except for the three of them, and then they make out this plan to go to Pensdirth because they're pretty sure that's where Colas is actually at. And
So what they're do okay, so they're having this fight, or they haven't even started having the fight yet. But basically, they're like, what are we gonna do? Right? We're just sitting around. And
uh-huh,
then this is when everybody's still in the room. And she's like, I could go, or she's about to suggest that she should go alone, basically, is what
right.
she's saying, to go in and out and find out what's going on, right? And then that's when Castile stands up and he goes, everybody out, like get the
Okay.
fuck out. And then so Delano's still there, Kieran's there,
Okay.
and Reaver's still in his Draken form, huffing wind at everybody. And Delano and Reaver are still like not about Castile.
Mm-mm.
Nothing towards Kieran, but they're not about Castile.
Nope.
Everybody's just weird around Castile. It's not her they're weird around Castile. Anyway, so he's just being a dick. She's being a
Mm-hmm.
child, and he
Mm-hmm.
mentions that she's being a child, which if you're married, don't do that to your wife. If you don't like, it's like, don't call her crazy or you're going to see crazy. Okay.
Right.
Just marriage tip 101. Okay. But anyway, so that's how that happens. And then they're just literally having a pissing match. And then
Mm-hmm.
Kieran's being the only one rational. Like, okay, chill out. Do you really think that's a good idea for you to go by yourself? Like, yeah, he's being an overprotective dick right now, but do you think that's a good idea? Like, we want your input, we want your help, but we can't just go off running around gallivanting by ourselves. Okay. Shadow stepping and then maybe not coming back.
Mm-hmm.
So that was basically that conversation.
And Castile he did make one good point, which I was awake for when I read this, um, where he's like, I know what happens when you just go off on a harebrained plan to try and take things into your own hands, like by yourself. Because that's what he did, and that's how he got captured
Yeah.
initially.
But also,
So that
like,
was
we're
like
worried
one
about
good
it
point.
because this is where Daddy Valen is, and those people haven't come back yet. And so they said Thad, one of the Draken, off to
Mm,
go see what's happening, and he should have been back by now, and he's not back either. So that's
right.
where they're pretty sure like some shit's
Well,
going down.
and they also got that note from Pensworth in our last chapter chunk of this book
Oh yeah,
that
that they
said
wouldn't
basically like,
surrender or whatever.
right, we're not surrendering. We followed the true king and all this stuff. So they're pretty sure that's where Colas is like actually at. Um,
Yeah.
so they make an agreement that they're going to go together and just do a little recon. They're not going to fight, which I'm sure is going to turn into a fight. But
Hmm.
they said they're not going to, they're just going to go like scope things out and see what's up.
Yeah. Chapter 29. All I had was just staring at the clips again. And then
Yeah.
like stuff with Tommy. So I don't know.
Okay. I have a few more notes on this because I think I understand kind of what happened with Tawny a little bit.
Okay.
But first of all, freaking Castile. Good grief, dude. Like, fucking get over yourself. Poppy, they start fighting, and this makes me
Was this
insane.
after they like screw at the window?
No, that's coming.
This okay, this isn't
Yeah,
there
that's
yet.
not
Okay.
yet. Um, but yeah, no. She walks in, she's talking to him, and he says something like he totally is just being a child. Like she's trying to talk to him about the real issue because she's asking him, "What's up with you and Kieran?" That's where this whole fight starts. What's up
Mm-hmm.
with you and Kieran? And then he starts talking about like, "Oh, my tone wasn't yucky or what? Like my tone wasn't. I wasn't being angry or whatever. You're hearing things." And I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
he's like deflecting and he's freaking gaslighting her, and that
He is a
makes me
100% red flag.
insane. Red flag. He is gaslighting her so much, and I am over it.
And it's so like coolest. And so that's what I'm just like,
And I tried giving him the benefit of the doubt. I tried hard up until this chapter when they start fighting and he's acting like a total child. Like, I'm like, he's pissing me off now. I'm over it. I'm
yeah,
100% officially over Castile. He is making me mad.
thank goodness. I'm
Um,
glad you're on the same train. But I do. I think it's like Colas is basically gonna take over Castile, and that's gonna be the end
yeah,
of this,
I have a
is they
feeling
will be
that's
the
true
death of
too.
each other.
I hope not, but I'm kind of seeing it. And
Yeah.
honestly, I'm like so over Castile right now, I'd be fine with him just like leaving the picture. I hate to say that, but I'm
Yeah.
done with him. And I hate that because I have loved him up to this point, but
I'm over all
oh,
of them at this point.
anyways, yeah. So Castile and Poppy, they're in the middle of their fight. When Tawny comes to visit, Delano's like, "Hey, Tawny's here. Do you want to see her?" And she's like, "Yeah, send her in." But she still feels that feeling of dread. But she's like, "I got to get this over with. I don't know why I feel like this." So she talks with Tawny. Things are going good. She asks her about Leo because Victor told her to ask Tawny about Leo. And Tawny says she doesn't know what Victor's talking about and she doesn't remember anything new or know
Hmm.
anything. So that was unhelpful. Um, and then Poppy makes this realization. Okay, so she's looking at like her white eyes and her white hair and all this stuff. And they're also talking about how Tawny traveled to see her, to get to her, she had to travel through like the blood forest and all this stuff with just Gianna, I'm pretty sure, and maybe somebody else. I don't remember. But anyways, not well protected, which is unlike Tawny. She normally would have been terrified. She was terrified to even have to travel to the capital for her ascension back
Hmm.
in book one. So, anyways, So she's realizing these things, and then she's like, okay, so when Tawny was unconscious from the Shadow Stone, that dagger that she was stabbed with, and during that time, Poppy sat with her a lot, and she was using her ether and trying to heal her, like trying so hard. Basically, what I got from this is that she accidentally took Tawny's soul, and now her soul is lost.
Yeah.
And
So
then
she's
she
like a soul
also,
eater still, I
yeah,
guess.
exactly. And then she also makes, which is also like that essence, like Colus's, like not Colus's essence, but the essence of death in her. That is something that comes from that essence. But she didn't know that that was in her at the time. Like she didn't know that was a part of her. So she thinks she's trying to heal her, but she actually accidentally took her soul. But then she also makes a mention of how Tawny only started to get better when she was under Willa Collins's care. And that's
Mm-hmm.
when she actually started like waking up. And they actually reference Miss Willa a few times in this chapter.
Mm-hmm.
And then okay, so this got me thinking how you've been thinking are convinced at this point that Willa is Keela.
The goddess of rebirth.
Rebirth and Ascensions. Uh-huh. And I think I might be more on board with that now after this because she was the goddess of rebirth and ascension and is responsible for lots of different souls. And
Mm-hmm.
then they keep referencing Willa in connection with Tawny, whose soul has been taken. So how was like the only way that she was getting better was when Willa was with her. So
Mm-hmm.
I don't know exactly how all these pieces fit together, but I think I'm more with you on Willa possibly being
Yeah.
Keela.
So chapter 30, mad chaos because they're gonna go somewhere and then they feel this like feeling, whatever. So they go look out at a balcony. And then they decide that's not close enough to the shores where these things are happening, like the docks and stuff.
They can feel that it's
So
coming from the west.
yeah, and so then she shadow steps everybody, and Kieran just basically wants to puke because you don't want to shadow step if you're a being of two people or being
A
Jesus,
do yeah, a
a being of
being of
two
duality.
worlds. Yeah, which we don't know what happens, but apparently Kieran left his stomach up on the balcony. That part made me laugh. Like, dude, I motion sickness, same thing. I get you. I get you.
Oh man, me too.
Um, yeah, and it's just kind of like mass chaos, and they're fighting the Siren, and the Siren are taking down boats, and shit's getting wild, right? And then all of a sudden she goes, "It's a fucking seahorse," and I'm like, "A fucking seahorse?" And we're not talking like a seahorse like you and me are thinking.
No.
It is literally a horse that just came out on the scene. It's got like
hmm
barnacles and stuff on it.
It's got scales and gills under its eyes and yeah.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, cool, interesting.
But I know I skipped some stuff, so you go ahead.
Okay, so this is the part where, once again, from Castiel's, because we started off the chapter with Castiel's
Right.
point of view, so Castiel wakes up once again to Poppy staring out the window at the cliffs. And she makes all kinds of weird
She's just
comments,
kind
and
of
he's not
weird.
sure if she's like awake or is she hurt, like what's going on. And she wants
And they're
her,
still kind of pissy with each other, which is I think is why it was weird.
yeah, they never did finish their fight or
Yeah.
make up. Um, but yeah, so then other stuff happens, and by other stuff I mean
The
the
twisted
the
tango,
dance, the no pants dance
no
happens,
pants dance.
but she's not like fully
There for
there.
it. Yeah, it
I don't
sounds
know.
like she's not even like I don't know. Like she's higher than a fucking kite.
It's
She had
it.
too
This
many of them
is
Colorado gummies.
yeah, yeah. This is like the Sator. This is like the Satoria in her, or
It's
her
like the
being Satoria.
Satoria comes out when she's sleeping.
Yeah, and she keeps looking at the cliffs of sorrow, and yeah, I don't know, but yeah, that's where that happens because you were asking like, is this the part? So this is that part.
Yeah, this is
Um,
that part. Yeah.
and then yeah, they feel there's something unnatural. They're basically, I think, just laying in bed, and then they realize something unnatural pops up again, like this
No,
weird
so we've already
feeling.
talked with
Oh
Nail.
no,
Nail's
they
like
were
embroidering a
right.
tunic or something like that.
They were getting their clothes done. Nail was doing the sewing and all this
And
stuff, and
Nail's like, he's like, yeah, I learned how to sew because it helps with my nervous energy or something like that.
right. Right. And then they feel this weird thing pop up, but she's like, it's not Colas. I don't think it's Colas, but something's not right. It's towards the west. So they take off. She changes her clothes. She takes off. Apparently she leaves without shoes because Castiel's like, are you forgetting something? And she's like, no, I got everything. He's like, what about footwear? And she's like, yeah, well, too late now. Let's keep going.
And that was
Um,
like, a dig back to like the first book when she's like up on the
Right
rise
in the
and she's
beginning.
not
Yeah,
wearing
that was
appropriate
cute.
shoes. Yeah.
And then yeah, there's Siren, but the Siren
There's
are dead though. Like
yeah,
it's a raising of the dead. So like an only person that can do that is Colas.
coolest.
The true primal of
Well,
life or the true primal of death
of
can
death, yeah.
raise
The
the
dead.
dead bones basically.
Because
Um
that's what what's her bucket? Seraphina did in the last Flesh and Fire book when they were fighting with them. She raised the ancients because they were on the battlefield of the
mhm.
ancients.
Right.
So chapter 31, our last chapter of the night, somehow all I put was at some point she like is levitating to use
Hmm.
all of her ether.
Hmm.
And then I put, and then a fucking kraken. Are you serious right now?
Right.
And then
Uh,
Rahar and Sion show up to the party,
hmm.
and apparently they think Cass looks just like him, Kin, which is Ate's brother,
Twin brother. Hmm.
twin brother, and I called that shit.
Hmm.
So there you go.
Yep. Yep.
So they are descendants of Kin. And remember, Kin was like a follower of Colas.
Yep.
So when they're talking with Rahar and Sion and stuff, they're like, okay, so this was one of these was a distraction because there was also an attack in the Shadowlands, which is
Hmm.
in Elysium. It's basically like the land of the dead, kind of thing over there in
It's where
Shadow.
Nyktos and Seraphina
Yeah,
live.
yeah.
Hmm.
So basically, they're like, oh shit, Colas set up a trap, and they wanted us here because now Colas is trying to take on the Shadowlands, is what they assume.
Right.
And that's just kind of where we leave it.
Yeah. I mean, at some point, so she realizes that like she sees that like light in the eyes behind the eyes of the Siren, and she realizes it's
Oh,
Colas. That's when she finally decides because she was like avoiding using the ether to take all of them out because she
so it
didn't.
wouldn't weaken
Yeah,
her.
she didn't want to weaken herself and all that stuff. And then finally, she's just like, fuck it. And she decides to go for it. And then, yeah, she goes like full primal on them. Takes all
Mm.
the Siren and seahorses out. And then, yeah, the Leviathan or Kraken comes up out of the bottom of the sea, which I'm sorry, but this was driving me crazy because Leviathan and Kraken are not the same
They're
creature.
not the same thing.
That was
Yeah.
driving me nuts. But, anyways, they used it synonymously in this book. So,
And it had tentacles. I'm like, okay, so it's a fucking kraken, but
yeah, it's
whatever.
not a Leviathan. Leviathan is like the thing that lives in like the lochs in Ireland.
Yeah, it's like a giant
A sea dinosaur,
crocodile
basically.
or yeah. Okay.
So, anyways, it comes out of the
We're calling
bottom
it a
of the
kraken.
sea. Yeah, it comes out of the bottom of the sea, which apparently it came from the abyss, is actually what it
Mm-hmm.
came from. And it brings with it this gigantic tidal wave. And then, right as the tidal wave is going to hit, she's like out of ether. She's completely helpless and weak and useless at this point now. And then that's when Sion and Rahar show up. And yeah, they say he looks so much like him, but they actually mean kin, not Ates, which again, I
Well,
put
they're
that
mostly
too.
just talking to, I think, Rahar, because Sion's over there
Yeah, right. And Rahar's
fighting
just
with
having a
tentacles and stuff
conversation.
like that. Yeah.
Yeah. And yeah, I put that too, that we called that last episode, or you called it last episode, that
Yeah.
about him being kin. And then yeah, says some stuff about how there's gotta be a trap. Apparently there was also attack on the Shadowlands, and Nyktos told them that either the attack on the Shadowlands or the one there in Carcedonia is a diversion and a trap.
Yeah.
And then there's like crimson colored lightning coming from the sky, and no one's able to see much. And then all of a sudden, it clears up, and the two primals are gone. Sion and Rahar are gone. The end. End
Which
of
is
chapter.
why I wonder if Kolis just killed Sion and Rahar.
Or did they go back to Elysium, realizing like this is a trap? We need to get back to the Shadowlands. I don't
Maybe. I don't know, dude. I don't know. I'm so disappointed. And that's
know. Me
all I got.
too. Yeah, me too. That's all I got too. I mean, I already
Okay.
talked about my theory that I think the area are the true big bad, and
Yeah.
I
I'm
don't
kind
know.
of feeling that. I
That's all
just
I
don't
got.
like that we just like gave up on Jadis.
I know.
And I don't like that we still don't know where Daddy Valen is.
Mm-hmm.
Or well, or what's up with Daddy Valen
Mm-hmm.
and whoever else is there. I don't like it. I don't like that. I don't know. we're constantly fighting. I think there's something to do with Castiel's gonna be basically, because they keep saying like, don't be the chink in her armor and just like shit like that, like don't be the one to bring her down, like that kind of stuff. And I'm like, okay,
Mm-hmm.
that's exactly what's gonna happen, because these are the fates that are talking about it. And it makes it complicated because now Kieran's also joined to their lives, and they've all joined their lives, and they didn't see that part coming,
Mm-hmm.
because the fates were talking about how they didn't see the joining coming, and the joining was what was the problem.
Right.
I don't know.
At
I
this
don't
point, there's a lot of fighting, there's a lot of fucking, and there's a lot of nothing
A lot of nothing, or just
overall.
weird things that don't make sense. Like, why the
A lot
fuck?
of new random stuff,
Oh, yeah.
and yeah, it's
I don't know.
incredibly
And I've
frustrating.
never, I think I've fallen asleep reading a book like once before, like sick. Like, I have fallen asleep, I think, 3 different times in this section
Yeah.
reading. Like, that blows my mind. I never do that.
Yeah.
So,
So far, I am disappointed. I was
me
trying to
too.
give it the benefit of the doubt after the last chapter. I'm like, we're only 13 chapters in. We've got a lot to
I know.
go. It's
That's
gonna
what you
get
kept
better.
telling me. And I'm like,
But we
it's
are
not
now
getting better.
60% in, and the freaking book is not getting better. And the
Yeah.
chapters are forever long, and there's nothing actually happening. So, over it. But
Where
we've
you
got to
at right
finish.
now? You're right.
So,
We are going to finish.
we're
We are
gonna
going to hold
finish
this
it.
out. Where are you at for the cry counter?
Same, still 1.5.
Okay. I'm still the same.
Yep.
2.25. I had to look at that. All right. Let's be done.
All right. So we hope that you are all loving going through and discussing both of these series as much as we are. We hope that you are following along with us. Make sure to join us on Facebook and Instagram for more fun and conversations and updates about our next series.
That's right. We have our next series in the works. I will tell you that we have actually both read the first book of the series, so we'll be starting it with a reread.
But don't worry, we won't be giving any spoilers. We will have guest host reading with us for the first time. So we have been practicing our poker faces.
That is true. So don't forget to check out our club on the Fable app, where you can discuss with us spoiler free chapter by chapter.
Our next episode will be our third of 4 discussions of The Primal of Blood and Bone by Jennifer Armentrout, chapters 32 through 48.
If you are reading along with us or just enjoying our conversations and theories, or maybe you're our moms just cheering us on, be sure to like this video and hit that subscribe button on your way out.
And buddy reading any book with book besties is so much fun.
So make sure to share our podcast with your book besties.
And if you don't have any book besties,
Then be one of ours. And until next time, fill those drinks with ice.
and your books with spice.
Bye.
Bye.